Okay, the latest revelation that I received from heaven is based on Numbers 22. I'm going to read that now. And what I was seeing was the donkey lying down and beginning to speak to what was on its back. The donkey lying down stopped in its tracks and beginning to speak to what was on its back. Let me read the story and then I'll give you the revelation. Numbers 22, starting with verse 26. Then the angel of the Lord went further and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. Now notice that this angel got in the place where Balaam and the donkey could go no further. It was a narrow place, and they were not going to be able to pass. They would be stopped in their tracks. That's the donkey and the false prophet. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she lay down under Balaam. Notice that the donkey sees the angel before Balaam, which is on the donkey's back, sees the angel. So at first, the only one that can see the angel is the donkey. Stay with me. So Balaam's anger was aroused, and he struck the donkey with his staff. Why did Balaam respond to the donkey this way with violence? Because Balaam did not see what the donkey saw. Stay with me. And as a result of that, the donkey was not doing now what the false prophet wanted the donkey to do. So what do people do when they don't get their way? The book of James says, why do we war? Why do we have contention and strife? Because we don't get what we want. That's basically what the book of James says, because we're not getting what we want, when we want it, how we want it. That is sinful flesh. Verse 28, Then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, What have I done to you that you have struck me these 3 times? Notice that. That's very important. There were 3 strikes from Balaam on the back of the donkey, and now the donkey, his mouth has been opened by the Lord. Notice that. God first sent the angel. Next thing God does is open the mouth of the donkey. Notice that God is orchestrating this, and the donkey now is going to address what is on its back. Verse 29, And Balaam said to the donkey, Because you have abused me, I wish there were a sword. I wish there were a sword in my hand, for now I would kill you. So the donkey said to Balaam, Am I not your donkey on which you have ridden? Ever since I became yours to this day, was I ever disposed to do this to you? And he said, No. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand, and he bowed his head and fell flat on his face. The Democratic donkey right now has been ridden for quite some time by the false prophet, the media, the false narrative that's satanic in nature and is coming through the media, okay? That false prophet, that false narrative is riding on the back of the Democratic donkey. But watch this. Now is the time for the donkey to see the truth of the unseen realm, which is the angel of the Lord, which has come because of the prayers of the saints like you and I. God has heard our prayers and has released the invasion from heaven, the angels, and this angel now can be seen first by what? The Democratic donkey. And so that is what's happening right now. The Democrats' eyes are being opened. This party is being opened. Come on, talk to me. This party animal. Hallelujah. And the party is about to stop. And this donkey is going to lay down because it sees the reality of God and the reality of the angel of the Lord with a drawn sword. What does that mean? That means justice. That means vengeance. Remember, God says, make room for me, I will repay. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And so that sword of vengeance and justice, that party can see that now, the reality of that. And that Democratic donkey is stopping in its tracks. So, with that being said, though, this triggers something else to happen in the story right now. The media to turn on the donkey. See, they're turning on one another. And as the Balaam turns on this donkey, the donkey then, the mouth is opened by the Lord. And so now the Lord will have his say through whomever he wants. And now the vessel he's operating through is the democratic donkey. The donkey now is speaking back to the false prophet or the media, and now they are facing one another, and there's a face-off, and the donkey is addressing the fact that I'm being abused by you now because you're not getting what you want. And how can the donkey go any further? Because the angel of the Lord now is standing in a narrow place. I say the angel of the Lord is standing in a narrow place right now and is preventing this party from going any forward. Even though it may look like there's progress being made, there's not. Because the angel of the Lord is in the way with the drawn sword from heaven. And now that donkey had the only choice it has is to turn and address what's on its back, what's riding you. What's been riding you, Democratic Party? A false narrative has been riding you, a false prophet. Hallelujah. And now speak to that thing. Hallelujah. And tell it to get off your back. Hallelujah. And this is exactly what the donkey does in the story. So the donkey said to Balaam, am I not your donkey on which you have ridden ever since I became yours to this day? In other words, this has been going on for quite some time. And we see that, guys. We see that this false narrative that so many have bought into, this illusion, come on, this mirage, if you will, has been going on for quite some time. And what that is a false prophet riding a democratic donkey. But the donkey must lay down now and decide to speak to what's on its back and rebuke it. That's what happens in the scriptures. A rebuke is released, and when that rebuke is released from the donkey back to the false narrative, what happens? Well, the Bible tells us. It says, then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand, and he bowed his head and he fell flat on his face. The false narrative, the false prophet now has his eyes open, and he begins to see the truth that the donkey saw first. First, the democratic donkey must see what is true, that God is true, and God will not allow this to go any further. Hallelujah. And that a drawn sword, that is judgment, vengeance, is at hand. And then, as a rebuke from the donkey back to the false prophet, the false narrative, the false media, that now their eyes will be open and all that are involved to the point where they fall flat on their face and acknowledge the same truth, that God is God. That is the recent revelation that I got. Wanted to release it to you in simplicity. Numbers 22.